Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. So we're a week removed from BlizzCon 2019 and most information now has filtered through. The show itself was made up of 3 major announcements. Nothing particularly spectacular. I think we all expected what we got. Diablo 4 being the major one. Overwatch 2 being announced to very lukewarm reception after it appears to be boiled down to a small bit of PvE DLC. And then, of course, the next World of Warcraft expansion, Shadowlands, which seems to draw a lot of influence from Shadowbringers from Final Fantasy. But, you know, such is the nature of the gaming industry. But going back to Diablo 4, this was, of course, the game which was expected at last year's BlizzCon. And instead, they got Diablo Immortal, the mobile game, which has just created a billion memes out there. And when they got their announcement, of course, it was greeted with this incredible cinematic that I think we can all agree on was absolutely spectacular. It was beautifully rendered, very eerie, and all that sort of stuff, and introduced Lilith the first. Was Lilith the first demon? Something like that, anyway. Lilith into Diablo, and it was very creepy and very, very good indeed. When they showed off the first bits of footage for gameplay, it looked very similar to Diablo 3. Graphically, it was an upgrade, as you would expect, and you would also expect with modern technology advancing as well in terms of, you know, SSDs, GPUs, blah, blah, blah. Loading screens will be down, the game will run smoother, etc. So you would expect that, but it wasn't the leap that had been announced in some leaks that they're experimenting with third-person over-the-shoulder game and first-person and all this sort of stuff. No, it went back to a more traditional ARPG standard with the genre. That said, although it was announced and gameplay was shown off, and you could play part of the game at the event itself, Blizzard did say that, and I think this is a quote, by their own standards, it is a long way off. So with us being at the arse end of 2019, 2020 seems a complete write-off for the release of Diablo 4. 2021, well, probably not so likely. If it does, the probability will be towards the back end of the year. So the likelihood is that it will probably be 2022. So we are talking a considerable amount of time off. I mean, it took 2 years, of course, from the announcement of Classic World of Warcraft for Classic WoW to actually hit a game from that company. So, you know, when it comes to timescales, Blizzard are in a kind of world of their own. But with it being a substantial amount of time away, that hasn't stopped Blizzard from talking about how the game is going to be monetized. And yes, you will be paying for Diablo 4. It's not going to be free to play. And yes, there will be expansions, which will be paid for expansions to go on top. Oh, and of course, the obligatory microtransactions, which are also going to be in Diablo 4 as well. So this has come out. This was Quinn69, who is an action RPG streamer over on Twitch, got a huge following. And he was speaking to Joe Shelley, who is the lead game designer, and he asked the question on monetization, and this is what we got.
This is going to be a big one. Monetization. Is there any just sort of decision made in terms of how? So is it going to be like you just buy the game and then that's it? Or is it going to be microtransactions within the game? Or are you doing like subscription? How are you planning to monetize it and like keep getting funding, I guess, to like keep making heaps of content?
So Diablo 4 will be available as a base game, and as I said, we're going to have expansions. You also will be able to acquire cosmetics in the game through.
So MTX. Oh wow, that's going to be through some sort of shop, or can?
It's very early.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
Now I'm gonna save Quinn's blushes because he then goes on to say how great microtransactions are. Dude, are you for real? Come on, man. So there we go. Yeah, Joe Shelley saying that there will be cosmetics. Don't worry, it's cosmetic only. Now, first things first. Let's go back to the campfire. Let's go back to the campfire, shall we? Look at them chilling out there. So first things first. You are... The question was expressed in a way of how are you going to generate revenue to keep creating content? And therefore we got, well, the base game, the expansions, and the cosmetic microtransactions. And this is legitimately concerning. And the reason why it's concerning is Diablo 4 will sell millions of copies. Diablo 3 sold millions of copies. Diablo 2 is one of the most revered action RPG games of all time, if not at the top of the list. And that in itself is not only going to pay for the game, but it's going to make a very, very tidy profit for Blizzard. If they do expansions on top, the expansions, again, will not only pay for the cost of developing that expansion, but make a substantial amount of profit for Blizzard Entertainment. But we're in an era now where, and I guarantee, right? Yeah, I'm going to call these bitches out. I guarantee that when I said microtransactions, there's a portion of people watching this video that's going to go, well, every game has microtransactions now. As if that is the justification for it. The fact that you want to roll over on your belly, or roll over on your back, exposing your belly, doesn't mean that it is a right decision to make. That said, there's also problems with the fact that it's microtransactions because we have seen from every single major developer out there, not a single solitary one of them has done microtransactions in a fair manner. Particularly when people are being asked not only to pay for the game, but to pay for expansions. Not one. Every single solitary one has abused the system to hell. We saw it with Fallout 76, for example. Okay, that's not an action RPG. That's a live service game. But what I'm trying to say is they charged you full price, full AAA price for Fallout 76. Virtually nothing worked in that game. It is a piece of trash. Still is a year later. But what did they have? A fully fledged operational Atom store with ridiculously priced digital shit. Then you had, let's go back a few years and take another franchise which thoroughly disappointed people, Destiny 2. When Destiny 2 came out, it was so egregious. Another game that asked you for full AAA price. And as soon as you got into the game, go to the Eververse, buy microtransactions, and they screwed it all up. Oh, you want to tint your armor with shaders? Oh, no, well, now we've broken up the shaders for the separate parts of the armor, and now you can buy them in a store, buy the armor, buy the nice shaders. You want nice looking cosmetics? Go to the Eververse. That was the way they did it. Vehicles, speeders, flyers, ships, whatever you want to call it. It was horrendous. The first expansion revolved around Eververse. The Christmas event revolved around Eververse. What happened to Destiny 2? It fell apart. It fell apart. It lost all its playing audience. Lost virtually all of its playing audience. Thankfully, that story has a slightly, well, not happier ending, but with the split of Activision and Bungie, it has caused for several changes within the game, and the Eververse store is no longer the focal point And then, you know, you could pick others. You could just, you know, pick others. It wouldn't be a difficult thing to do. You look at Ubisoft games. Again, asking for full price and then releasing as a live service game with pages and pages and pages of microtransactions. AAA gaming companies do not monetize fairly. I think we can really just say that. And a reason why, I'm telling you right now, a reason why they are doing this is this right here. This is the reason. This is the quarterly earnings report being announced for this year, Q3 of this year, and then the shareholder just dropping off a bit. Not huge, dropping off, but why did it drop off? Why did this go down after the quarterly earnings report? Because Blizzard this year, although they are making a fucking bucket load of money, billions of dollars, although they're making billions of dollars, they are not keeping pace with last year, their best ever year, because they don't have any titles to release this year. They have no new IP in development. And so because of that, they've just tried, as we've seen with the World of Warcraft, throw as many microtransactions as we can at that game. Keep throwing fucking mounts at that game. God, she's wept. Just keep whacking them on there. They are looking at ways just to make money for the shareholders. Because if the shareholder doesn't see growth, and it didn't see growth in Q3, and the reason why it's dipped slightly is because the forecast for Q4 is more of the same. Not going to go up, not going to compare with 2018. Let's go back to the campfire. That's so much calming. That is why. So they look immediately at where they can monetize. They look immediately at where they can exploit. And when you've got a game like Diablo, which is fully fledged around looting, that is the aspect of the game. Loot, 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 loot. Get your character more powerful. Get your character looking really cool. Get your legendaries, which do this, that, or the other. When you have a game that revolves around that, and then you suddenly put cosmetic microtransactions into the game, fuck right off. You know what? You know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to create the coolest skins, and they're going to put them on some sort of store, and they're going to be some stupid price. Because they can't help themselves. They need to hit their targets. They need to constantly grow and grow so the shareholder is happy and the shareholder invests and other people invest. Then the stock price rises. And it can't maintain that, as we've seen from this year. So although this year they're doing really well, for any company in a bubble, any company, this company is doing staggeringly well. It's not good enough. Because the gaming industry is so freaking greedy right now. So, although the game for us to play, I say us as in gamers, not specifics, is 2 to 3 years probably away from fruition, don't worry, they've already got designs on your wallet. Diablo 3, what did they do with that? Real Money Auction House, ruined the game. 1 expansion in 7 years. Yeah, I'm sure they won't botch this. I'm sure it'll be absolutely great. So there we go. Diablo 4. Although it's years away, your money is safely already bagsied by Blizzard Entertainment for microtransactions. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links, they're in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. In actual fact, going to be streaming some more Death Stranding tonight. It's a weird one. You take care. Bye for now.